G'day, Steel Nation. Today we're talking about Pickett to Pickens in Pittsburgh. Welcome back to the Steel City Syndicate podcast. I'm your host, Mark, and Owen's here too. G'day, Owen. How you going, mate?
Hey, Mark. You okay, man? Yeah, good, man. All good, all good. Was it 11:15 here in the UK? Ready to go there, mate. Ready to talk Pickett to Pickens in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I wanted to bring it up today because it's kind of a fun topic, right? We still have the draft. The draft was only a week ago. We still have, it's a new era after Big Ben. We now have Pickett. We have Trubisky. You just released a video yesterday about the four quarterbacks. And if you haven't had to listen to that yet, go back and check out our library. Pittsburgh, Owen here. Owen talks about the four quarterbacks. So, yeah, it's going to be a fun topic today. Talk about Pickett to Pickens in Pittsburgh. And hopefully that's maybe the last time I'll say that, but it is quite funny to say. Now, I do want to start off, though. I have a little bit of a poll we did last week, right? If I can find it here.
Yeah.
We asked the audience, you guys from Steel Syndicate here, about what you thought of the draft. And what grade did you give the draft, Owen, last week?
Oh my God, man, I'm getting old. I can remember these things. Thinking like an A- or something like that. I think it was.
Yeah, I think you gave it A or an A-. I gave it B, but we did a poll here on the channel, and the results were, so what grade would you give the Pittsburgh Steelers 2022 NFL draft? We had A, 41%, B, 50%, and the rest really doesn't overly matter. And at the time that I did the polls a few days ago was 364 votes. Would you agree with that? Would you agree with those two top answers being A and B?
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think that's pretty decent. Yeah. See, for me, Andrew Filipponi's been voting again on A for 2% there.
Yeah, it's got multiple accounts. No, who is that bloke? Is he just a guy? Is he a Pittsburgh radio host guy? I don't know who he is.
Yeah, he does some Pittsburgh, but he works on 93.7, the so-called fan, I think. But yeah, he seems to hate everything the Pittsburgh Steelers ever do. I just
trying to be a mini Mark Madden.
Yeah.
You know what? I've got a quick story about Mark Madden. You know, when I was little, right?
Yeah.
When I was like learning the game, when I was about 12 or 13, 14 years old or whatever it was, I used to play the game Madden. I still do. The Madden's, it's going quite well, but Madden has fallen off. They make millions of dollars, but they're falling off now. The Madden game used to be awesome. I bought Madden 04. I remember, I think I still have it somewhere. I think I bought a book from Mark Madden, right? And the reason why I bought this book, I think it was a Steeler book or it was a Pittsburgh book or something like that.
Yeah.
Or I saw it in the shop. I'm not too sure if I bought it, but the reason why I was like, oh, Mark Madden, because my name was Mark. He was a Pittsburgh guy, and I played Madden. And then when I was little, I had no idea that he was like one of the most negative, like, I don't want to say bad names. I don't know the guy personally, but he just seems like a guy that would an actual troll. Like, he's a real troll of all trolls.
Yeah.
And he'll probably somehow find this video in the first 3 minutes and then tweet us and say, you Aussie blokes and you UK blokes don't know what you're talking about. But the reason why I picked it up was like, well, my name's Mark Madden. I was like, oh, I know that guy. And I thought he was like one of the best, Pittsburgh celebrities or whatever, because he was like a writer. But little did I know that the way that he presents himself online.
Yeah, he is very negative. He's up there with Filipponi on the negative stakes for definite.
Yeah, well, I don't really follow too much of his stuff because I just can't handle it. Like, look, if I'm going to follow my team, and I don't know about you, but if I'm going to follow my team, it's going to be try and put some support behind there as much as I can. And at some points negative, but not like, oh, we're doom and gloom and it's all over and we're below 500 and nothing's going to happen, right?
It's another thing, isn't it? Criticize performance, but don't criticize the player, and don't criticize any of the draft picks. We don't know anything about these guys. They played college ball, but they haven't played a single snap in the black and gold yet. You cannot criticize them at this moment in time. It's ridiculous that people are. I was getting. I put our DeMarvin Leal video. I think it was on my channel. It was on my channel, and I remember promoting him on the Facebook groups and getting this. I wish you lot would stop saying, all these picks are going to be great players. Let's say, it's just getting behind our boys, getting behind the black and gold. That's what you're meant to be doing as a Steeler fan.
Well, I talked about it. I think it was I I think it was actually on my channel, Steelers Nation Australia. What are we doing? We're doing all the work for our own channels and not this one.
Yeah.
But it's all the same. I talked about it the other day. You have to support your team. At the end of the day, I think it comes down to if you're a Steelers fan, if you are a supporter, and you're a fan. To me, you're a fanatic because you're crazy about the team. But it comes down to, we have like sayings here in Australia, and I think it's exactly the same in the UK. It's you walk past someone and you're like, oh, who do you support in football? And the key word to me is support, which means you carry them in good times, bad times, ugly times, in the worst of times. And even for the Steelers, we haven't had that many bad times.
Yeah.
Right. So to me, to support your team is to cheer them on as best you can. And even if like last year where their running game was terrible, like absolutely terrible, you still hope that every single game you'll get better and you could stop the run. But you kind of knew that it wasn't going to go that way. But you have to, I think, as a fan, as a true Pittsburgh Steelers fan, I'm not calling anyone out, but you know who you are if you're a true Pittsburgh Steelers fan. You support your team. And that if that's losing 4 playoff games in a row, so be it. We'll go out there and get the next one. Now, with the draft stuff, I agree with you 100%. These fellas are so young, 21, 22, 23. I think Pickett's 25, coming from college. And we already say, well, we should have got Malik. We should have got the other guy. We should have got this guy. And he hasn't thrown a ball yet. And it doesn't matter. Like, we'll talk about him into the next few parts. But I want to start today's podcast, Owen, man, what's your favorite memory of the Steelers ever? Your all-time favorite memory?
Good question, mate. Well, I know it might seem quite sort of boring memory, but James Harrison interception running the length of the field in the Cardinals Super Bowl victory, and then him sort of collapsing at the end.
Yeah.
Just because I was a massive Debo is one of my favorite 5 Steelers forever. Because the guy was a tone setter. He was just awesome. The way he played the game. I mean, he couldn't play in today's game. He'd be getting flagged. He'd get flagged getting off the team, out of his car these days. But that return, that's going to be my top Steelers memory. What about you, Mark?
Mine's the same, man. And you know what? He actually couldn't. If we had him on the podcast, he wouldn't be able to fit. He wouldn't be able to fit in these windows. Like, he'd just be like,
huge, isn't it?
That is my favorite memory of all time. And I think he is my favorite player till this day and moving forward. The way that he played the game was with such, physicality. And the reason why I like it is he wasn't told to rush. He was told to rush the quarterback, Kurt Warner. And they were going down to have a big lead at halftime, right? Yeah. And Debo Harrison, he read the play 100%. Yeah. He put his left foot in. He pushed off. He backpedaled. He stopped, grabbed the football. Hey, I've got an interception. Let's go. And the way that the team rallied around Debo is one of the most fantastic plays of all time, not only in Steeler history, but in Super Bowl history. He went 99 yards, and Larry Fitz got knocked over by Antoine. I think it's Bolden was there, or Roll, one of the blokes there, one of the Cardinals on the sideline. He got in the way, so then he couldn't chase him down. I think 3 or 4 Steelers made blocks and he jumped over people. It was something out of a movie, man. It was actually amazing. So that is my favorite play to this day. Now, the reason why I bring that up is I want to spin it back to 2022. Yeah. Now, can you forecast what player in 2022 will make the best play and what will it be for this season?
I mean, your obvious answer is obviously TJ, but do you know what? I'm going to go out on a limb here. I'm going to actually link into what we're talking about. George Pickens is going to do something. Yeah, I think he's going to be honestly, the more I read about this guy, the more I watch the tape on this guy, the more I find out about this guy, he is going to do something awesome this season. He's going to catch the ball, he's going to stiff arm, knock someone over and just go the length, I reckon.
Right, so you're going offense. Well, for me, I'm going defense, and my guy is... You know what? I'm going to spin it back to the old days of... I was going to choose TJ, but that's too easy. I'm going to spin it back to the highlight of this year will be Alex Highsmith coming around the corner like Lamar Woodley used to do, wearing the same number, 56, strip sack, and TJ picks it up to win. Let's say AFC Championship game. Let's say like the old days, like even Troy used to do too, when Troy came in and they ran away with the football. I reckon Alex Highsmith is going to do something crazy like that. I know he's going to get sacks, sacks all along the year and tackles and this and that. but he's going to make one so impactful where, yeah, we're going to win the game from it. Like TJ Watt will pick it up, or Levi Wallace will be hanging around the football. So Highsmith from around the edge, he will beat two players, two guards in the tackle or whoever, come around, end the game. And it's a bit like when, Troy made that catch in the interception versus Ravens and the house went off in fire, right?
Yeah.
The Heinz Field went off. So I like that. That's why I wanted to spin it that way. I wanted to, find out who maybe might be the best play of all season. We don't know who it's going to be. It could be Minka. It could be any one of these players. It could be Najee, could beat 4 or 5 defenders. You know what I'm saying? Like he could run past 4 or 5 defenders and jump over somebody in the end and score. Like he did with his first touchdown. Do you remember his first touchdown?
Who, sorry?
Najee Harris, where he did the Superman.
Oh, yeah.
That was fantastic to see. Right?
Do you know what? Or it could be Devin Bush fumble recovery after he's obviously had his 5th year decline. Goes the length. That could be another one.
I could see that. Yeah, I could see. Say Lamar Jackson is going to run in for because how many times has Lamar Jackson fumbled the football in the red zone of ours? Like over 20 times. Look, I exaggerate, but he's done it quite a few times. I could see that Devin Bush could, fumble recovery and run 92 yards for a score to win the game. Something like that I think is going to happen. I think this defense has a big opportunity. But let's move into our first topic today, which is I want to learn more about Kenny Pickett. What do you think overall? Where does he fit? I know you did the episode yesterday with the 4 quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Where does Kenny Pickett fit in this offense?
Do you know, I think it's an interesting one, Pickett. There's so much around at the moment about what is going to happen with Pickett. Tomlin said that he's got every chance to start. And realistically, I think, the more I read, the more I find out, Pickett, it's going to be Pickett v. Mitch Trubisky to be the starter. And I think it very much depends on what the coaching staff want to do going forward. I think if this is truly about building for the future, truly about building an offense going forward, maybe we start with Pickett in 2023. We give him the opportunity. We give him his head, as it is said. And we let him go out there.
This year or 2023? This year.
So no, we start him this year in 2022. Building towards 2023 to sort of learn to learn the NFL, to become part of that offense, to really embed into the Matt Canada system. Pickett for me, and I know lots of the Steel City Syndicate podcast viewers know that I wasn't overly impressed with Pickett at the start.
But it grows on you.
It does, yeah. What I've done is I've done perhaps something that some Steeler fans obviously could do with doing about a number of players. He's gone away, read about the guy, listened to people I respect talk about the guy. I've actually sat on my phone, watched a couple of games, like highlights of games he's played in, the Clemson game, for example, and looked at him as a player. And he's got mobility. He's got the mobility the Canada system needs. He's the most accurate of all the QBs coming out of college. But at the end of the day, I think there's definitely there is a few weaknesses there with the long ball with him and all that, but I just think he is the answer. He's got great accuracy. His short ball passing game is good. His medium range passing game is good. And with the weapons we've put into that team now, I think he's got every chance of succeeding.
Yeah, I tend to agree because you have Pickett like last week was like, oh, we got Pickett, or what's going to happen, and then is it Trubisky, this guy? But he's slowly growing on me. And the reason why is because he's a brand new player in this offense. We have a rookie that can maybe go out there and do things. I'm not saying like I hate the comparison where it's like, oh, he's going to be the next Big Ben.
Yeah.
I dislike comparisons 100%. Comparisons can just see you later, mate. Comparisons, there's no point doing a lot of those comparisons all the time. But I thought I was against bringing in Trubisky. Then I started to warm up. I'm like, oh, that could be good for the offense, right? And I think right now it's going to be a two quarterback race, right? With the Kenny Pickett versus Trubisky, and then Rudolph could either maybe be traded. There's talks of that. I actually haven't heard many talks in the Pittsburgh Steelers, like officers or the Adam Schefter's of the world, but I've just heard fans saying trade him, and I know you want to get rid of him 100%, right? But there's a 2-horse race with Pickett or Trubisky, and as this season is built up, man, I kind of feel like it could be Pickett's turn, because We have a whole off season for him to get ready. He's already acclimated into the city. He knows the city like 100%. He's got all his stuff there. He can literally just go to work next door. They probably run similar things or do similar things in the gym. He knows where to eat. He knows the players. Once he gets customized, it won't be a very hard transition to a customized to the actual city, to the football locker room, because people are going to embrace him. I do hope the guys like Cameron Haywood and those fellas can shake his shoulder pads and make sure he's a bit humble, and make sure they carry other people's pads and stuff like that. But I think he still gives a good chance this year to where, if you were to start him, I don't think it would be the biggest. It would be the biggest. It wouldn't be the biggest downfall, really. It might be expected too. If Trubisky struggles in the first 2 games, Pittsburgh Steelers fans are going to call for Trubisky's head out and Kenny to come in. You know what I'm saying? So.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you've also got a situation where he played in a pro-style offense in Pittsburgh, so he's used to that pro-style game. Mark Whipple, who was the offensive coordinator for Pitt Panthers, it was a member of the Steelers staff at one point. He was recruited to the University of Pittsburgh by Matt Canada. Didn't actually play for Canada, but was recruited by Canada. So he's got that history with Matt Canada. And for me, I think, at the end of the day, he's a first-round draft pick, and it often happens, doesn't it? You see in a lot of the franchises where you have a first-round draft pick come in and then sits for the first 2, 3, 4 games. There's a lot of pressure on whoever is starting, and the fans, the first bad performance, the first thing that goes wrong, the fans then get on that quarterback's back, and they want the rookie brought in. They want the first round draft pick brought in. I mean, I remember when Jared Goff was taken by the, I think they were called the LA Rams at that point. Case Keenum was starting for them at that point. The moment Keenum had a bad performance, that was it. The Boo Birds, right? It was, we want Goff to play. And I think you could actually see that in Pittsburgh, that if Trubisky does have a bad performance, say goes 1-2, 2-3 first few games, then straight away you're going to let's get Pickett out there.
The thing is, though, too, the thing I think about, if we were to start Pickett, we have done it before with Big Ben back in the day, right? So we can start rookie quarterbacks, can be successful. They have something a bit different, I think, from other quarterbacks. They do have that spite, that run around mentality of like, I'm a new guy and I've got like fresh legs. I'm 100% ready to go, right? I'm not saying that Trubisky doesn't, but they have a lot more energy than other quarterbacks, I think, that are coming into this offense. So keen to learn, so keen to get it done. I could say, too, this is probably the best opportunity out of a lot of teams in the NFL. The Pittsburgh Steelers are one of the best places to actually start a quarterback. Because you look at like Jacksonville, for example, or the Jets. They are horrible organizations. I'm sorry. They are. They're really bad organizations. They started Trevor Lawrence last year. He went 3-13. Really bad. He got, I think, one of the most interceptions. They had a bad defense. They have a bad organizational structure. You look at the organizational structure the Pittsburgh Steelers have from Art Rooney II to Kevin Colbert, who will be retiring soon, to our mate Mike Tomlin, who's one of the best coaches, if not, he's a great coach, and hopefully he goes to the Hall of Fame. And also, guys, I want to give a shout out to, I don't know if you saw it, Owen, Believe in podcast. They had Mark Bergen, Ike Taylor. They actually had Mike Tomlin on there. Did you see that podcast?
No, I didn't actually see that one. No, I'll have to go and
Great podcast. Absolute great podcast. I watched it from start to finish. They had Mike Tomlin on there. And what I do appreciate is I know some Steelers fans out there are not on the fire Tomlin bandwagon, and I can't stand that. I'm so done with it. And during the podcast, he was on there for about 30 minutes talking with Ike, talking with Mark Bergen, who runs the Believe in Steelers podcast. They're good fellas. And the point I'm trying to make is Mike Tomlin was in there talking about the city, talking about the team, and it is a must watch. But the thing is, Kenny Pickett, if he were to start, he has all these tools around him to be so successful, does he not?
Definitely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you look at the offense now in terms of the weapons that he's going to have next year. But not just that, Mike Sullivan, the quarterbacks coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers, is a quality quarterbacks coach. He'd already started to improve Dwayne Haskins. A lot of people said that Dwayne Haskins had made massive steps forward last year in Pittsburgh. You've also got the assistant quarterbacks coach there now as well, who is kind of like going to be, I think, a one-to-one mentor for Kenny. Mike Tomlin he's just an awesome coach to work for. You and the criticism of him is so unfair. I mean, especially if you consider the Pro Bowl last year when they asked the players, which coach would you, if you could work for any coach, but it can't be your own coach, who would you work for? And overwhelmingly, they all said Tomlin. So yeah, the network is there in place. The offense is looking better already, and yeah, there's still question marks over the offensive line, but that line is going to be better than it was last year. And even if they rank 16th, 17th, that's still a massive increase, and you know, I think will protect Pickett an awful lot better than last year's line did. But when you've got Harris, you've got Freiermuth, you've got Claypool, you've got Johnson, you know, Pickens hopefully will be the player we think CA3. He's just got I think there's so many options there this year. Just to succeed, you can't fail but succeed with those options.
So I've got a question for you, right? And the more I talk about Pickett, the more I think there's actually a chance that he can start, right?
Yeah.
Because here's a question for you: why do you think? Oh no, sorry. What do you think that the Steelers fans are worried about? Why are we worried about him starting? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense. Yeah, I think it's the inexperience, isn't it? The fact that the guy's coming out of college, and college is so different to the NFL. You know, that he had that one great year in Pittsburgh, but the step up to the NFL is just huge. There's a lot of people say, I think, you know, I've heard a lot of ex-players talk about it's faster. It's just a step up in speed, a step up in ability. You have less time to make decisions, and whereas you can get away with little mistakes in college, the smallest mistake in the NFL is picked up on straight away, you know.
Okay. All right. But, however, if he can make all the throws, right, if he can make – because I'm trying to think in my head now. If he can make the throws to Austin, to Pickens, to Deontay, Claypool, like they are top-tier receivers, and Muth and hand off to Najee, right? Is it about managing the game and managing how to win the football game from start to finish and maybe not pressing the pass too much? Or is it about his actual skill ability to throw the football?
Probably. I mean, I don't think there's any doubts about his ability to manage the game. I mean, you look at what he can do. I mean, in terms he can, you know, reading scouting reports on him, the guy can read defenses. He can read the blitz. He knows what to do. He can adjust to that. I think perhaps it's his throwing skill. You know, that deep ball skill is still something that is a slight concern. I heard some of the analysts talking about him saying that when he tried to throw the deep ball at times last year, he was bailed out a little bit by Jordan Addison, who was one of the best wide receivers in the college game. And throwing the ball into tight windows, you don't have that as big a pressure on that in the college game. So, yeah, I think there is obviously some worry about that side of the game from him.
Yeah, I tend to agree. But I think, though, to me, if he can make all the throws, say to Claypool on the outside, to Deontay, to get Austin Pickens involved and go through his reads, the only thing I think that the reason why the Pittsburgh Steelers won't start him is they don't want to diminish his confidence. And another reason would be they don't want him to get in there and it doesn't know how to finish a game or you know, rally a drive to go and score, because that is completely different to the college as well, right? If you're sitting at a 3rd and 13 in college, it might be easy to run around crazy and throw one up.
Yeah.
But if you do that in the NFL, the new safeties, Hamilton from the Ravens, are going to pick you off. You know what I mean? And change the whole game. So learning those skills like Big Ben and other quarterbacks around the league used to do, right? Those intangibles, I think they will monitor over the season, because obviously there's a reason why they chose him, because of the skill set, right? I want to end it. Actually, we could talk about Kenny Pickett all day. So this is going to be a theme, isn't it, throughout the offseason?
Yeah.
Like, we don't know who's going to be quarterback, and it's quite exciting. But what are you most excited about Kenny Pickett in 2022, starting or not?
The extra mobility, the creativity, the fact that he can throw. I think he has got the skill set to bring the best out of the receivers we've got. Look, I absolutely love Ben. I love the 18 years he had in Pittsburgh, but after 2019, his arm was gone. You know, he couldn't throw the ball down the field anymore. And that's what Deontay, that's what Chase thrive on. And take that away from them, it reduces their effectiveness as receivers. And I think Kenny will bring that back to the receivers, and we can therefore get the best out of those wide receivers. And we can actually see the Canada system have a fair chance of succeeding, something that it could never have done last year because Ben was just not mobile enough. Like I said, I love Ben. I don't like saying anything negative about him, but I just think that Kenny gives that opportunity for that system to work. And the Steelers to innovate on offense, something they just could not do last year. I think it was still very predictable last year.
Oh, the last 2 years, you're right. Since 2019, it's been very, very flat and like, oh, okay, we're running this play. Okay. And then nothing happens. I'm excited to see him on the field just because he's a new player and a new quarterback. And the Pittsburgh Steelers have not had a new rookie quarterback like this since Big Ben, right?
18 years.
Exactly. I've been watching 20 years. And the last time I saw number 8 was Tommy Maddox. And then he went down when I was younger. And I was like, what is this Pittsburgh Steelers team? And then I started following Big Ben, and that was it. I had Big Ben for the whole time.
Exactly. I think the most promising thing as well is we're not going to have to go through that awful period that we had between Bradshaw and Ben. We're not going to have to go through the likes. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
It doesn't look like it, does it? No,
hopefully, fingers crossed, touch wood, all those sayings. We're not going to have to go through the period of, the likes of Mark Malone, Miller, Tom Zach, Cordell Stewart, although I did like Cordell, Neil O'Donnell, etc., etc. We're going to hopefully have someone who can take straight over from Ben and move us forward.
And that's the thing too. That's a question as well. And to end it on this Pickett one, because we will be talking about Pickett a lot on the Steel City Syndicate and the Pittsburgh Steel Syndicate here. It's such a funny thing because we had Ben for so many years, and now it all seems to be like maybe it just worked out in good timing that we go up and get Kenny Pickett. There's probably a lot of organizations and fans out there going, what? You had Big Ben and now you get another rookie quarterback, Kenny Pickett? You guys are so lucky.
Hopefully. Yeah, definitely.
Like how many other teams are like that? Would be heaps of teams like that. Oh, and you have Coach Tomlin. I think we have it better than what we actually think because the thing what I like about the Pittsburgh Steelers right now and this year is our defense will hopefully keep us in check to go out there and make the game 7-7, 14-7, 14-14 at least, I think we'll be in that kind of realm where we have that possibility to have a chance to win every single game, no matter who starts. And right now, we don't know who's going to start. And I think we can talk about it maybe next week. We'll do Kenny. Every show we can talk about Kenny Pickett because it's so exciting, isn't it? Isn't it so exciting?
Yeah, definitely.
It's awesome. But we're going to talk about the next guy. The next guy is your guy you've been doing a lot of research about is George Pickens. I want to know more about George Pickens, right?
Yeah.
I want to start first, though, with his character issues. Now, I brought up on my Steel Nation Australia, I didn't like the fact that he water bottled someone. I'm not a big fan of that. Is this just a bit of college play and I'm looking too much into it and hopefully he can hone those skills or that aggressiveness and be a good Steeler?
I think he has got that aggressiveness, natural aggressiveness. The fight issue, that was his freshman year. And I think you can sort of give him that. It's his freshman year. It's his first year. We all do stupid stuff when we're young.
Yeah, I agree. Exactly. I could name probably over 30 things that I mini regret or was so dumb. And I guess
that's a whole other podcast.
Yeah, we can't talk about that. But also the viewer, you guys know too. The viewer knows this. That's what I'm trying to think of. So when I went down, I was like, oh, he watered someone. He got into a fight. He did this. Maybe it's just college. It's just college. I don't know.
Yeah, and but I think there's often too much. But I think even if he has got that bit of aggression and that bit of attitude about him, he's in the right place, I think, to have that channeled in a positive manner. There was it Ike Taylor said he'll fight a corner in a minute. We got a scrapper. He's all attitude. He's a Steeler. I think he's a bit of a cross between AB. Before AB lost the plot, he's a bit of a cross between him, Joey Porter, and Debo. I think he's that sort of player. He's got attitude, but I think Tomlin, Frisman Jackson, who I saw interviewed the other day, and I thought was absolutely amazing the way he talked. He was brilliant. I think the right people to actually really hone these skills and hone that aggression in the right way for Pickens to really go on and be a success for us.
And what better place to be, the AFC North as well, because the AFC North, we have the Ravens, we have the Bungles, there's the team I can't stand. And they're pretty aggressive now too. I said it last year. I said it all last year. I said they were young and angry, and they were, and that's how they won. They were young and angry, the whole team. Even with Jamar Chase has a bit of physical nature and a bit of don't mess around with me. And the defense was really angry and they beat us twice. So we need that. We did win. The Steelers did win the AFC. We won 4-2. We beat the Browns twice, beat the Ravens twice. The Ravens got better in the draft. So maybe we need that physical attitude from Pickens and guys like him to set the standard is a standard, right?
Yeah, and I think for a guy who's allegedly got an attitude problem as well, you actually listen. If you actually listen to what he says and listen and look at his actions. Number one, I heard him being interviewed in his second year, and he did this amazing performance. I can't remember the stats now, and the reporter said to him, what do you put this down to? Why this fantastic performance, George? And straight away it was, I want to thank my offensive line. I want to thank the quarterback. I want to thank the coaches. Straight away it was the team, not himself, that he talked about, which a lot of receivers don't do. And the second point was, that third year when he got the ACL tear, he could have so easily just said, right, to Georgia, that's it, finished. I'm going to just get myself fit, ready for the draft. Look after number one. But no, he came back. He wasn't fully fit. He risked it. He went out and made sure that helped Georgia win the national championship. He put the team before himself. That's a guy with an attitude problem? I don't think so.
Yeah, I think even having this conversation, it's one thing that I think some of us tend to forget, even myself, is like we're so far disconnected from his actual personal, being of who he is and as a player and a person. All I see is that 30-second clip on Twitter about him fighting, and it paints a narrative of him as a bad person or character issues. And I actually have not seen that interview where he talks about the team and this and that. So, and that's it, because we are so far disconnected. Like I tell you, I live in Australia, mate. I can't it's hard for me to sometimes find the news and keep up to date on these certain things. And I know when I went to America, I know you haven't been there yet, but when I went to America, you walk into a bar and you just instantly hear like the ESPN talk and chatter, and you always got football around you all the time. But it's different for us overseas. So we're like, what happened? Okay, I'll look into that, But what do you think? What are your thoughts on his play style? What do you think?
I think he's going to be awesome. I think if he hadn't, I think we're lucky, because if he hadn't had that ACL tear, this guy'd have been a first rounder. He'd have gone up there with the likes of Drake London, Chris Olave, Jameson Williams. You watch this guy play. He has got vice-like hands. He does not drop the ball. He is great in the combat catch situation. He fights for the ball. He's got an absolute desire to get in the end zone. You watch some of the highlights from this guy. He's diving for the end zone. He's taking an absolute pounding just to get into that end zone. He's an absolute beast of a player. I saw him, I think it was on one of the channels like Yinsberg, called a DB Slayer, and I think that's pretty much what he is. He is, and like I said, he'd have been a first round pick if he hadn't had that injury.
Yeah, I think another NFL analyst, termed that coin, or he might have even done it himself. I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure if Pickens made that term up himself, DB Slayer, but that is fantastic. For me, yeah, I'm kind of excited just to. I'm a little bit worried because I don't know how many catches he'll get or how many receptions he'll get. You know what I'm saying? Where does he fit in the offense? Because there's so many stars now.
He can. I mean, I think one good thing that he brings as well is he brings flexibility to the team as well. I heard him being interviewed the other day, and he was talking about how in practice he played a lot in the slot for Georgia. He did a lot of work in the slot in practice sessions, but then in the games he played outside. So he clearly brings that flexibility. So he's another option that they could play in the slot, because he's big, he's physical, he's tough, he doesn't fumble the ball, in those contact situations. But he's also got the speed to play outside. So he's definitely got the skill set to play all over. And I think if Canada's got any common sense, hopefully, that he might take a leaf out of, I know you don't like them, Mark, but out of the Bungles book and play, use him like they used Jamar Chase last year.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic, because he went.
You look at the Bengals last year. They had T. Higgins, they had Boyd as well, so they had two good receivers. Same way that we've got, Chase, which I know some people talk down on, Deontay again. But Jamar Chase, and I know he had that link from LSU with Joe Burrow, but they used him predominantly last year as the season went on, and they got great results out of it. And I think hopefully Canada, Frisman Jackson, Mike Tomlin will see the skill this guy's got, and hopefully he'll prove that in the preseason and in the first few games of the season. We'll start to use him a lot more. Plus, you've got to remember as well, he's coming into the NFL as been an unknown. Guys don't know him. They don't know how he plays. They don't know the routes he runs. They don't know what he does. Yes, they can go away and watch tape, but they don't actually know on the field what he does yet. The same way they know about Claypool, they know about Johnson. So he brings that surprise factor as well, I think. And that's something that can really benefit the Steelers this coming season.
Well, that's the same too with also Calvin Austin III as
Yeah.
well. Even to a certain point with the receiving group, Anthony Miller coming in, and the forgotten one too, Miles Boykin can even help out too. This receiving core is so different because the only guys we really know now is Claypool, and I have been hard on Claypool. I just want Claypool to turn it up and just play. I thought it was a really down year last year for Claypool, but let's see what he can do. And Johnson as well, and these receivers coming in, they will light a spark under these fellas because they have to. If they don't play up to the ability that they should be doing, then they will tend to lose their job throughout the season or even next year.
Oh, yeah.
Because the young fellas are coming in, and then there'll be a new set of receivers coming in too from another draft. Have you got any final thoughts on Pickett before we start to wrap it up and go into our mailbag segment?
On Pickens, I just can't wait to see him. I cannot wait to see him. You know what? I'm really excited about this guy. I mean, for me, out of the 7 picks we had, he's my favorite pick. I mean, he was someone who I actually, when I was doing mock drafts, would often pick. He really does excite me. I think he's going to be an absolute beast this year.
Yeah, I'm kind of keen to see him in training camp and him play preseason football, because we all know when we watch preseason football, we get quite excited behind our Steelers. And we're going to see him run over someone. I think he's pretty physical. What I saw, pictures of a bloke. He's a muscly dude, man. He's a big unit, right? And he's physical, and he does have that aggressive nature. If he can hone that in, because there's nothing wrong with being aggressive or confident or overconfident. Nothing wrong with that. No. If you can use it, if you can harness that and bring that in and use that for good, a bit like Hines Ward would do, or Heath, or those fellas, then you can go on to be something great. Like, you can go on to be something big. I'm talking like you can be the best receiver in the league. If you can harness all that energy for being him fighting or whatever, or this and that, then you can do some really good things. I'm excited to see that. And as long as he keeps his cool head, because we all know receivers are the ones that are like, hey, look at me mentality. But if he can harness that energy and go out there and give 110% for the Steelers, then this changes the offense quite a bit.
Yeah,
right.
Definitely.
Muth, Najee, Claypool, which will go into his 3rd year. We hope he gets better, and then DJ also continue that success. And now Pickens. It looks like, I don't understand how we are 4th in the AFC or with a worse team. But let's move into our mailbag segment. We have a mailbag segment. We put out every week, guys. I think I'll put out the post every Friday. So every American Friday, we'll put it out and say, any questions for the Steel City Syndicate podcast, put them in that post, in that comment section, and we'll grab them and talk about it. So we only had one this week, Owen. Can you believe that? Only one.
Man, only one.
That's all,
come on, guys, get the questions.
That's all right. So we had it from the Here We Go show, and that is the host, Devin. I think his name is Devin, right? He says here, I'd love to hear your 2022 AFC North rankings off the top of your head. So I'll go with you first, Owen, and then I'll give my take. What do you reckon? Who do we think for the AFC North? Wonderful.
Do you know what? I think, and you know what? You can accuse me of being a homer here. You can accuse me of having my black and gold goggles on, but I'm going to go Steelers number 1 because of 2 factors. Number 1, we have the best defense in the AFC North by a mile. There's nobody compares to our defense. It's just absolutely awesome, and I think it's the best in the AFC as well. Obviously, we've got the defensive player of the year, and if Tuitt's back as well, that front 7 is going to be scary. Second reason is we have the best coach in the AFC North as well. Those 2 reasons for me stand us out. So for me, Steelers 1, and I think the offense will surprise people this year. 2, I'm going to go for the Ravens for 2 reasons. 1, because they've got they're going to get all their players back from injury. I mean, they did suffer an awful lot last year with all those injuries. I mean, at one point they had no secondary. They had a lot of backups playing in the cornerback position and the safety situation, and they've strengthened those positions. Plus, they're going to have J.K. Dobbins back. So I think Ravens 2nd. I think the Bengals will be 3rd, and I think the Browns will finish last. The Browns don't impress me at all. I mean, yeah, the defense is good, but you know what? Even if Deshaun Watson does play 16, 17 games this year, who's he going to throw the ball to? Amari Cooper? Is that it?
Yeah,
Who else is there? Landry's
true.
gone now. Jarvis Landry's gone. You know, he hasn't got Odell Beckham Jr. anymore.
Beckham's gone. You know, they're all leaving the house. The only one good thing about the Browns, the one player I do like is Nick Chubb. I think he's a fantastic running back. But he is really fun to watch.
But Mark, who was the only team that Nick Chubb couldn't break out against last year?
Well, it must have been the Steelers.
Yeah, he couldn't. You look at the 2 games he played against the Browns. Nick Chubb was non-existent in both those games. We had the worst running defense in the NFL. Well, probably in the NFL last year, and Nick Chubb couldn't run against us.
No, I agree with you. So I'm gonna go from the bottom up, right? Because I agree with you, right? I agree the Browns are dead set last because they have you pretty much threw your franchise quarterback under the bus. Baker Mayfield, you threw him under the bus. That was your guy, right? He was in ads. He's your guy under the bus. They have no receivers. They have a good running back who I do like. I think Chubb's awesome, right? And the defense, it's okay. It's whatever. But the Browns are the Browns. They will be 4th. I can see them having a losing season, to be honest, right? Now, I will surprise you. I've gone the Steelers. I'm going Steelers here 3rd. And the reason being is I want them to succeed, and it's always better to go up. Right, because you got to give it to the next 2 teams. The Ravens had a really good draft on defense. They went like all defense. For the first 3 picks, they had like about 1 million picks.
They did have 1 million picks.
The Ravens always play us hard. The Ravens are very physical, and to win the North, you need to be physical. So I've got them 2nd, and the only reason why I give the Bengals number 1 in these rankings right now in May is because they were number 1 last year, and they have Joe Burrow and those receivers. But they can come a peg down too. But I think at the moment it doesn't overly matter where we rank them because in reality we're all 0-0. And what is the best part to an NFL season, Owen, at the very beginning?
What's that? Best part? The first game, getting the start, mate.
Exactly.
And we're all 0-0. You know, end of the day.
Every single team in week 1 is 0-0 and has a chance to go 1-0.
Yeah.
Even the New York Football Jets have a chance to go 1-0 and have a winning record.
I think
so. It doesn't matter.
The caveat I'd put on the Bengals this year has to be the fact that they're going to have a tougher schedule this year. People have got their number now. They know how they play. They're not going to be a surprise this year to anyone like they were last year. So I honestly think the Bengals will underachieve, and I think they could be suffering a Super Bowl hangover as well. I mean, you know, look what happened to Atlanta after they lost to the Patriots in the Super Bowl. Look what's happened to the Eagles as well recently since they won the Super Bowl.
You are right too. I'm looking at the Bengals schedule now, right? They verse the Falcons, they're pushovers, but they verse the Bills, they can lose that game. They verse the Panthers, that's probably 50-50. The Browns always play the Bengals hard. They verse at home KC. KC can take care of them. The Dolphins will be better in 2022, I reckon, with Tua, and their defense is pretty good too. The Steelers, you know what I liked about sidetrack? We are getting sidetracked, but it's great. The defense, if you have a chance to go back and watch last year, the Dolphins defense versus the Ravens. Did you see that game?
You know what? I actually watched bits of that game. I remember watching it live. It was the middle of the night over here. I couldn't sleep, so I put it on NFL Game Pass on my phone. I remember watching it, and they just absolutely stuffed the Ravens.
It was one of the best games I've ever seen in my life. And you know why also? Is Brian Flores was the coach at the time.
Brian Flores.
Right? They ran cover. They ran, I think it was cover 0. I think like 70% of the time they blitzed.
Yeah.
They just blitzed. They set the house. The Dolphins defense set their house on Lamar. Lamar couldn't do anything. They blitzed 7 people, 8 people. They covered the receivers like 3 or 4, whatever went back. You didn't know who was going to blitz. The safety ended up getting 2 sacks. They got tackles for loss. They absolutely took over the Ravens. The Ravens didn't know what to do. So that to me was like a fantastic game. And that's the way I think we need to play. I think we will play Lamar too. But going back to the Bengals schedule, the Dolphins are at home, or they play them at home, right? Of course, Steelers will probably go 1-1. You got they verse the Cowboys away, which is always hard to play in Dallas. The Patriots are hard to play away, no matter what, no matter who's playing. You know, it doesn't matter who the quarterback is, right? You got the Saints there too. The Saints got who they have. They have
Jameis Winston.
Winston, yeah. Then they go and play the Jets. They get a victory there. Steelers away, Bucks away, and Titans away. They do have a pretty hard schedule. They can lose against the Chiefs. They can lose against Titans. They can lose against Bucks. They can lose against Cowboys and Bills. They got at least 5-6 hard games, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, but especially when you got the situation where the Bucks have brought virtually everybody back and they've got Brady back, and that's going to be a really hard game. The Titans are they've got a great defense. The Titans, no matter what you think about Ryan Tannehill, for example. Plus, they're going to hopefully they'll have Derrick Henry fit as well.
If the Titans and those teams can push the Bengals into a situation where they're coming from behind, like down by 14, 17 points, I think the Bengals, yes, they can probably do it with their offense, but it's always hard to do that. We know it from the Steelers point, where we come back with the Vikings and we lose, right? So look, I like that. I think at the point though, everyone's 0-0, so it doesn't overly matter until we start playing the first 4 weeks and we start to get an identity where we're going. But we also have the schedule coming out soon too. So I'll leave with this, guys. I'll let you have your final thoughts. We have the schedule coming out, I think, this Friday, Your American Friday. So we will be doing some sort of a podcast, a mini podcast recording, and we'll get the video straight up as best we can. How exciting is that, right? We get to find out the schedule.
Oh no, I can't wait to find out actually who we're going to play. It's then you can start looking at, you know what happens though? You go from mock drafting to, this is what the record's going to be. The way too early predictions.
Wait, we're going to do that. We're going to do that I think it's this Friday. Wait, no, sorry. My bad. I'm in Australia. It's Your American Thursday is the schedule. And as soon as we find out, me and Owen will jump online, do a recording to go over the schedule, and we'll get that released straight away. Any final thoughts, mate, on this episode number 2? From what I say, Pickett to Pickens in Pittsburgh.
Can't wait for it. I think it's going to be exciting. Can't wait for it. I think Pickens, will be awesome. And I think, do you know what? We've got a great chance to really bring in a franchise quarterback who's going to make a difference. And I think we should stick him in there and build for the future, I think.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited, to be honest, that they have a new young fella, and it's my first time in history that I can get behind, knowing a lot more than I did back when I was 12 years old about football. I get to see Pickett throw his first pass, go one completion for 15 yards or whatever it is, and then start to follow his journey. That is why we follow the team. That is why we are supporters, because we support the team. And at the end of the day, if we get these fellas to go and win a championship, like, I will be singing from Queen, "We Are the Champions," like forever. Like, I would be just so happy. Like, we may just do a podcast of me singing. I won't spoil it just yet. Yeah,
do a duet, Mark. We'll do a duet.
I'll be having some brewskis, and that is it. That I just there's a possibility, because the more you learn and love about this team, it means a lot to us. It means a lot for the players. Don't get me wrong. It means a lot for the players. Like, they're playing the football game, but it means a lot for us too. If they were to win, we'd be like, wow. All right. Thank you, Owen, for coming on, or being a part of this Steel City Syndicate podcast and episode number 2, which is called Pickett to Pickens in Pittsburgh. I'll see you guys later.